The worst part about buying the wrong motorcycle isn't the price, it's when it fails after you trust it. Picture this, you're finally on that long-planned road trip, 2 states in, 100 miles from nowhere, and your bike dies. No dealer, no tools, no warranty, just heat, silence, and a tow bill. All because you ignored the red flags. That's why we built this checklist. 17 warning signs that expose bad bikes before you even buy. Number 17, poor listing quality. We begin with a red flag that you can spot before you even leave your house. You are scrolling through Marketplace or Craigslist and you see it. One blurry photo taken at night, a description that simply says bike for sale, runs good, no mileage listed, no year listed, no mention of title status. However, for the savvy buyer, this can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes a lazy listing hides a diamond in the rough because every other buyer scrolled past it. But you must proceed with extreme caution. You need to call them. You need to grill them. If they sound just as lazy on the phone as they did in the listing, you hang up. But if they sound like an older guy who just isn't good with technology, you might have found a winner. But 9 times out of 10, a sloppy listing reflects a sloppy ownership experience. A bike that is loved is usually sold with pride. A bike that is neglected is thrown onto the internet like trash. A lazy seller is annoying, but our next red flag is deceptive. It looks harmless. The seller will tell you it's no big deal. But if you believe them, you might be buying an engine that is cracked in half. Number 16, minor crash damage. Every used bike has character marks. A stone chip here, a boot scuff there. But you need to be a detective when it comes to minor crash damage. We are talking about the low speed or static drops. The seller says, oh, it just fell over in the driveway. Look closely at the bar ends, the clutch lever, the brake lever, and the mirrors. Are they scraped? Are the balls on the end of the levers snapped off? This confirms the bike has been on the ground. This is usually not a red flag for the engine mechanics, but it is a massive negotiating tool. A cracked engine case from a minor drop is a ticking time bomb. It will leak oil. It will compromise the structural integrity of the engine. Do not let minor cosmetic damage scare you away from a good engine, but use it to knock $500 off the price immediately. You need to distinguish between the frame is bent and the owner is clumsy. One is a deal breaker, the other is a discount. But even if the bike looks clean, what happens if the seller refuses to let you ride it? There's only one thing left to do. Number 15, test ride refusal. You arrive at the meeting spot. You have your helmet, you have your jacket, you are ready to see how this machine feels. And the seller says, sorry, no test rides. Now let's be fair. No test rides without cash in hand is a standard and reasonable rule in the motorcycle world. Sellers don't want joyriders dropping their bike. You hand them the cash, you ride the bike. If you crash, you bought it. That is the code. But if you show the cash, show your license, offer to let them hold your car keys, and they still refuse to let you ride it, something is wrong. This is a massive red flag. What are they hiding? A bike can sound perfect at idle, but be a disaster on the road. Maybe it pops out of second gear under acceleration, a common issue on abused sport bikes that requires splitting the engine cases to fix. A seller who absolutely forbids a test ride, even with full cash security, is hiding a dynamic flaw that you cannot see while the bike is parked. Do not buy a bike you haven't ridden through all the gears. If you can't ride it, you assume the transmission is broken and you price it as a mechanic's special. You might be able to ride it, but if the rubber meeting the road is ancient, you are in for a nasty surprise. Number 14, worn or roasted tires, the sign. Tires tell a story that the seller might be trying to hide. Before you look at the tread depth, look at the wear pattern. Is the center of the rear tire completely flat and squared off? That tells you this is a commuter bike. It has done thousands of boring highway miles. It hasn't been leaned over. This isn't a deal breaker, but it means the handling will be terrible until you replace them. Factor in $400 for a new set immediately. But the most important check is the date code. On the sidewall of every tire, there is a 4-digit number inside a small oval. For example, 4219. This means the tire was manufactured in the 42nd week of 2019. Motorcycle tires expire. After 5 or 6 years, the rubber hardens. It turns into hard plastic. Even if the tire has perfect tread, a 7-year-old tire is dangerous. It will not grip in a corner. It will slide in the rain. If you see date codes that are 10 years old, it tells you the bike has been sitting for a decade. It means the seller didn't care about safety. Old tires mean deferred maintenance. Old tires mean the owner didn't care about grip. But our next red flag proves they didn't care about stopping. This is the one fluid check that acts as a lie detector for the entire motorcycle. Number 13, sloppy or weak brakes. This is a safety check that doubles as a maintenance lie detector. Squeeze the front brake lever. How does it feel? Does it feel firm and progressive, or does it feel squishy? Does the lever pull all the way to the handlebar grip without stopping the bike? A squishy lever means there is air in the brake lines. Or worse, the master cylinder seals are failing. Now look at the brake fluid reservoir. It's that little cup on the handlebars. The fluid inside should be clear or a light golden honey color. If the fluid looks like black coffee, soy sauce, or dark mud, run away. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. It absorbs water from the atmosphere. Dark fluid means it is full of water. That water sits in your brake calipers and rots the pistons from the inside out. It rusts the ABS pump, which is a $1,000 part on many modern bikes. Check the brake discs. Run your fingernail across the surface. It should be smooth. If there are deep grooves that catch your nail, or a massive lip on the outer edge, the rotors are shot. Brake rotors are expensive, often $400 a pair. A bike with bad brakes is a bike that wasn't loved, and it is a bike that will kill you. What's the biggest red flag you've ever ignored? Be honest in the comments. Bad brakes are dangerous, but our next red flag is usually a sign that the bike has lived a very hard life on the racetrack. Number 12, safety wire or drilled bolts. This is a specific red flag for sport bikes. GSXRs, R1 bikes. You need to look closely at the bolts. Look at the oil drain bolt. Look at the oil filter clamp. Look at the brake caliper bolts. Are there tiny holes drilled through the heads of the bolts? Is there twisted metal wire running through them, connecting them to the frame? That is called safety wire. It is required by racetracks and racing organizations to prevent bolts from vibrating loose at high speeds. Street riders almost never safety wire their bikes. It is a pain to do. If you see drilled bolts or safety wire remnants, you know the truth. This bike was a race bike. It has lived its life at the red line. It has been ridden harder in 5,000 miles than a street bike is ridden in 50,000. Sellers are smart. They will remove the race fairings. They will put the stock lights and mirrors back on. They will list it as never raced, adult owned, but they rarely replace the drilled bolts because it costs money and takes time. Spot the holes, spot the lie. You are buying a retired racehorse that might be ready for the glue factory. And while we are looking at fairings, you need to check if they actually belong to the bike. Number 11, mismatched paint and fairings. You are looking at a beautiful blue Yamaha, but look closer. Does the blue paint on the gas tank perfectly match the blue paint on the tail section? Or is the tail slightly darker? Does the metallic flake look different in the sun? Mismatched paint is the #1 sign of a secret crash rebuild. The bike was wrecked. The owner bought a replacement gas tank from eBay that came off a slightly different year model, or they bought a cheap set of Chinese aftermarket fairings. How do you spot Chinese fairings? Look at the fitment. Do the panels line up perfectly, or are there large, uneven gaps? Do the screw holes line up, or do they look like they were forced? Is the Honda sticker on the left side slightly lower than the one on the right side? Check the date stamps. On many modern bikes, if you pop off a plastic panel, there is a date clock stamped on the inside. If the bike is a 2020 model, but the fairing stamp says 2022, that panel was replaced 2 years after the bike was made. Why? Because the original one was smashed into 1,000 pieces. Did you ever walk away from a bike because of a red flag? Let us know in the comments. And yes, a bike with fake fairings is trying to hide its past. But our next red flag is a bike that is trying to be something it's not. The seller calls it upgraded. We call it a wired disaster waiting to burn to the ground. Number 10, excessive modifications. Beware the custom. A stock motorcycle is engineered by geniuses with PhDs in physics. A modified motorcycle is re-engineered by a guy named Dave in his shed who had a couple of beers. You want to buy a stock bike. Every modification lowers the value and reliability of the machine. Look out for fender eliminators, where they have hacked the wiring harness. If you look under the seat and see a ball of electrical tape and wire nuts, run. That is an electrical gremlin waiting to leave you stranded in the rain. Look for performance mods, cheap eBay exhausts, pod filters instead of the factory airbox, power commanders that haven't been tuned properly. These bikes often run lean. They overheat. They have terrible throttle response. Sellers will try to charge you extra for these mods. It has $2,000 in upgrades. No, it has $2,000 of junk that you will have to pay money to remove. A heavily modified bike usually means it was owned by someone who wanted to ride fast and cheap. That is a bad combination. Bad wiring is surely a nightmare, but our next flag suggests the bike is rotting from the inside out. Number 9. Suspiciously low mileage. You might think finding a 10-year-old bike with only 1,000 miles on the odometer is winning the lottery. It is usually a nightmare. Low mileage means sitting. Machines like to move. Engines need to cycle. When a bike sits for years, bad things happen. The seals dry out and crack because they aren't being lubricated. The moisture in the air gets into the engine cases and causes internal rust on the cylinder walls and transmission gears. The mice build nests in the airbox and chew through the wiring harness. A 2014 bike with 1,000 miles has done 100 miles a year. That means the oil probably hasn't been circulated enough to protect the cams. Rather, buy a bike with 20,000 miles that has been ridden regularly and maintained than a museum piece that is rotting from the inside out. Low miles does not equal new. It often equals deferred maintenance and dried out rubber. And if the bike has been neglected, the first place it shows up is the final drive. Number 8. Chain and sprocket neglect. The mirror. The chain is the mirror of the bike's soul. It is the easiest, most basic maintenance task on a motorcycle. Clean it, lube it, tension it. If the seller couldn't be bothered to spray some lube on the chain, they definitely didn't bother to change the oil or check the valves. It is the ultimate litmus test for ownership. Look at the chain. Is it orange with rust? Is it kinking, where the links are stuck in a V shape and don't straighten out? That is a dead chain. Look at the rear sprocket. Are the teeth hooked like a shark's fin? Are they sharp and pointy? That means the drivetrain is totally worn out. A neglected chain is dangerous. If it snaps at highway speeds, it can whip forward and crack the engine case, totaling the bike instantly. Or it can lock up the rear wheel and send you sliding down the road. If the chain is a rusted mess, assume the air filter is clogged, the spark plugs are fouled, and the brake fluid is black sludge. Sadly, this is based on personal experience. A like helps this reach riders who need to see it. A rusted chain shows neglect, but our next red flag shows deception. This is the oldest trick in the book, and if you don't catch the seller doing it, you will buy a bike that refuses to start the next morning. Number 7. Cold start refusal. This is a trick that shady sellers have used for 50 years. Before you go to see the bike, you must text the seller, "Please do not start the bike before I get there. I want to see a cold start." When you arrive, before you even say hello, put your hand on the engine case or the exhaust pipe. Be careful not to burn yourself. If the engine is warm, the seller is hiding something. Hard starting issues show up when the engine is cold. Valves that are out of spec make a bike hard to start cold. Weak batteries struggle when cold. Carburetors that are gummed up won't start cold. If the bike is warm, it means the seller probably spent 20 minutes fighting to get it started, spraying starter fluid into the intake and jumping the battery before you arrived. They got it running, warmed it up, and now it restarts easily. If you touch the engine and it's hot, ask them why. If they say, "Oh, I just washed it," or "I just rode it to the gas station to fill it up for you," be extremely suspicious. A healthy bike starts instantly, stone cold. If they violated your request, walk away. But what if the bike hasn't run in years? Number 6. Ran when parked. This phrase is the biggest lie in Craigslist history. Ran when parked 5 years ago. Let's talk about chemistry. Modern gasoline contains ethanol. Ethanol attracts water. It turns into a thick, sticky varnish in about 6 months. It eats rubber seals. It rusts metal gas tanks from the inside. A bike that has sat for 5 years is not a simple carb clean job. The gas tank is likely ruined. The fuel lines are brittle and will crack. The fuel pump is seized. The injectors are clogged solid. The brake calipers are seized. The tires are dry rotted hard as hockey pucks. A ran when parked bike is a project. It is a restoration. It is a resurrection. Do not pay running bike prices for a non-running bike. I don't care if it ran perfectly in 2018. It doesn't run now. If you cannot hear it run, you must assume the engine is dead. Price it accordingly. If they won't let you try to jump, start it, or put fresh gas in it, you walk away. You are buying a pile of parts, not a motorcycle. And if you do get it running, you need to check if it's keeping its fluids on the inside. Number 5. Fluid leaks. When you go to look at a bike, bring a flashlight. Get on your hands and knees. Look under the engine. Is there fresh oil on the drain plug? Is there a drop of green coolant hanging from the water pump weep hole? Some sellers will wipe the bike down right before you arrive. This is why you must touch the underside of the engine casing. If your finger comes away oily, it's leaking. Check the fork seals. This is a common failure. Run your finger around the shiny chrome tubes of the suspension. If you find oil there, the seals are blown. That oil will run down the fork leg and soak your brake pads, ruining your brakes. That is a $300 repair job immediately. Check the rear shock. If the shaft looks wet and grimy, the shock is blown. That can be a $1,000 replacement on a high-end bike. Fluids belong inside the bike. If they are outside, it means seals are failing, gaskets are rotting, or cases are cracked. It's just a little sweat is seller code for it needs an engine rebuild. Do not accept a bleeding bike. If you want more buyer-focused guides like this, subscribing keeps them coming. Number 4, suspiciously low price. This is the big one. This is where greed blinds you. If a deal seems too good to be true, it is not a blessing. It is not your lucky day. It is a scam. Scammers list popular bikes for half their value to bait you. They want you to email them. They want you to send a deposit to hold the bike because so many people are interested. Or the bike exists, but it has a blown engine that they have filled with thick oil to hide the noise for 5 minutes. You need to know the real market value. To help you, here are 7 price warnings for the most popular bikes right now. If you see them under these prices, do not click. The Harley Road Glide, a real, clean title. Road Glide from 2020 onwards is worth $20,000. The market is strong. But if you see a 2020 Road Glide listed for $5,000 to $8,000, it is a scam. It is likely a salvage title flood bike, a stolen bike with a VIN swap, or a pure Facebook marketplace deposit scam. No one sells a $20,000 bike for $5,000. The Yamaha R1. The resale value on an R1 is insane right now. They sell for $16,000 all day. But if you see a newer shape R1 for $6,500, run. That bike has either been looped at 120 miles per hour and has a cracked frame, or the engine is about to explode. The BMW R1250 GS. These hold their value like gold bullion. A decent one is $15,000. The warning: if you find a clean 1250 GS for $7,000, it has 100,000 miles on it, or the final drive is shattered. There are no cheap GSS. The Ducati Panigale V4. This is an exotic. Maintenance is expensive. A used one is usually $18,000. But if you see a V4 Panigale for $9,000, it is a mechanical total loss. It probably needs a Desmo service and a new clutch, which will cost you another $4,000 immediately. The Honda Goldwing. The new shape Goldwing is a marvel. They sell for $17,000. Anything under $10,000 is suspicious. It likely has a rebuilt title from a major crash. The Kawasaki Ninja H2, the supercharged beast. These are collector items. They are $25,000. The warning: if you see an H2 for $15,000, walk away. It has likely been dropped, and carbon fiber repair costs are astronomical. The KTM 500 EXCF, the king of dual sports. They hold steady at $9,000. A 500 EXC for $3,500 has been drowned in a swamp and rebuilt by a teenager. It will blow up on your ride home. Know the prices. Don't be a victim of your own greed. Number 3, bad seller behavior. You are buying the seller as much as the bike. If the seller is sketchy, the bike is sketchy. Trust your gut. Are they rushing you? I have 3 other guys coming to look at it today. You better decide now. That is a pressure tactic to make you skip the inspection. Don't fall for it. Do they refuse to meet at their house? Meeting in a Walmart parking lot is fine for safety, but if they are weirdly secretive about where they live, or if they bring the bike in the back of a van instead of riding it there, they might be flipping a stolen bike. Do they give dodgy answers? If you ask when was the last valve adjustment, and they say, oh, these engines don't need that, they are either ignorant or lying. A good seller keeps receipts. A good seller is patient. A bad seller gets defensive when you pull out a flashlight. If the vibes are off, keep your cash in your pocket. A bad seller is annoying, but a hidden wreck is dangerous. Number 2, serious crash damage. Every seller says never dropped. They are lying. But there is a difference between a tip over and a 70-mile-per-hour slide. You need to look at the skeleton of the bike. Stand behind the bike and look at the subframe and the tail. Is it twisted? Does the rear tire line up perfectly with the license plate? If the tail looks crooked, the bike has been cartwheeled. Run your fingers along the front forks. Feel for creases or bumps in the metal tubes. Look at the steering stops, the little metal tabs on the frame that stop the handlebars from turning too far. If they are sheared off or bent, the bike hit the ground violently. Check the frame welds near the steering neck. If the paint is cracked around a weld, the frame is bent. This is catastrophic. A bent frame means the bike will never track straight. It is unsafe at any speed. If you see frame damage, the conversation is over. But even if the frame is straight, there is one piece of paper that rules them all. Number 1, title and VIN issues. This is the non-negotiable. This is number 1 for a reason. Before you even look at the tires, before you start the engine, you demand to see the title. If the seller says the title is in the mail, you walk away. If they say it's a lost title but it's easy to get a new one, you run. If it was easy, they would have done it to sell the bike for more money. If they say, I'm selling it for my friend, you stop. You must match the VIN, vehicle identification number, on the title to the VIN stamped on the bike's frame, not a sticker, the stamped metal. If one number is off, you are buying a stolen bike or a frame-swapped mess. Check for lines listed on the title. If a bank owns the bike, you cannot buy it until that line is released. If you hand over cash for a bike with a lion, the bank can repo it from your garage. A bike without a clean, clear title in the seller's hand is not a motorcycle. It is an expensive paperweight. Do not listen to the story. The paperwork never lies. Click the next video if you want ride longer with us, and join our tribe by subscribing and help us favor the algorithm by liking this video.